Good morning, everybody. Great to see you here. We have to film down this end because that PowerPoint is still not fixed. I'll get in touch with Council this week. It's been over a month now, so I'll give them a bell on Monday, ask them if they could sort that out for us. Okay, let's pray. We thank you, Lord, that so much is coming out into the light. We thank you that the fraudulency of the election is so apparent that so many people are seeing it, and we thank you that you're shining the light into the darkness. We ask you for your wisdom, your strength and your guidance. So be it. Right, do you really think Labor won the election? Of course they didn't. What a load of nonsense. They didn't win. They didn't win. It was decided before the federal election who would get in, as it has been for many elections. So even the Cairns News has said Albanese is regarded as a Chinese asset by the US administration. Well, we know that. We know he's been a communist for 40 years. After months of ignoring him, Albanese managed to contact President Trump, and then it's got after winning, in inverted commas, the federal election. So you've even got your media now, like the media you can actually believe, saying that it wasn't won, it was planned, it was rigged. And then I was looking through a speech of Senator Babet, and some of the things that he has said I'll share with you now. And he says the election was rigged. We know that. We know for a fact the election was rigged, and the results were locked in way before we were allowed to vote to make us feel like we were doing something. The media leans left. No one's going to disagree with that. He said journalists are activists and their job is not to tell the truth. We know how many millions of dollars the media was saved in taxes during the COVID pandemic if it kept with the government narrative. They covered for Albanese every time he lied. The media defamed politicians, and we know that, who offered real solutions to the issues that we are facing. All viewers heard the Labor propaganda delivered by media in bed with the left. All viewers heard that, the public service wants Labor in power because it's their meal ticket. That's where their jobs come from. This is all from Senator Babet. And one thing we know, one thing that I have witnessed firsthand, and these parents who are contacting me, our schools are no longer places of education, genuine education, but of radical Marxist ideology. Our children are being indoctrinated, they are not being educated. Our young people are leaning left. No wonder they voted Labor, not that it made any difference. Critical thinking is out. As teachers, you're not encouraged to teach your children critical thinking, how to think. You teach them how to conform to what they're meant to think. That's the way the education system is run. Critical thinking is out. They've been taught since they were toddlers in the system, and it starts in daycare. And of course, it's not called programs for nothing. They've called them programs for a long time because they are programming anyone who listens to it. So we all know that, free kindy. Labor Party was offering free kindy, and now they want free childcare. Of course they do, because they can start indoctrinating our children when they're tiny, and that is what they're doing. The comments, that's the end of the points I've got from Senator Babet, but comments on Facebook are overwhelmingly against Labor and what happened in the election. My goodness, it's, in some of them it's hard, it's hard to sometimes find someone who thinks Labor's good. Oh, they are there, but, overwhelmingly I believe people was sick of Labor. That's my belief. Labor was told that they had the victory, started saying it 2 hours after the voting started. How can you do that? You know, here's your media, here's your left-wing media. And then it was really announced at 29% of the votes. Last time it was announced with 33% of the votes, that's in 2022, and Albanese already had his overseas tour booked for the next day as Prime Minister. So why can't people see this? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to go through what we've seen in the fraudulent elections. In the state election last year, Lisa was helping out with the postal votes. And on the Tuesday, which was 10 days after the election, she was in there when they counted 750 votes. She was told by the lady who has been doing this job for many, many years, don't come in early tomorrow. There are still 2,000 votes out there, but people get them as a precaution, just as a cautionary measure, and most just go in vote. She said, I won't be expecting any more than 100. Based on years of experience, I don't expect any more than 100 votes to come in, and there are only 2,000 out there. Overnight, 2,700 votes came in. You know, it's just incredible. We've seen the corruption, the scrutineers' forms. When the candidates were told on the 2nd of May, the day before the election, that, oh dear, the Electoral Commission has given you the wrong form. You have to now give all of your scrutineers the correct form. But the candidate has to personally sign each form. Personally. They can't give photocopies, I know, because I tried to use one. And they wouldn't, this was not this election. But how could every candidate get personally signed forms out to every polling booth? Impossible. So we had a shortage of scrutineers, and we know how they treat the scrutineers anyway. So we, after the council election last year, just a reminder while we're talking about elections, I think it's important for people out there to know that we sent pages of evidence to the CCC, Crime and Corruption Commission, and the Electoral Commission of Queensland on the evidence of fraud in the council elections last year. Compliance warning. This is a compliance warning for those who are standing for council. Failure to register your group of candidates before engaging in group campaign activities is an offence that carries substantial penalties. It is an integrity offence under the Local Government Act of 2009. I provided dates 16th to 18th of January of newspaper articles. The establishment of Greg Williamson, our mayor, for those who are lucky enough not to know, establishment of his website and Facebook page between the 16th of 18th and 18th of January. He had not registered his team. I have photocopies of when he actually, I know that they got wind of what was happening, that they were outside of legislation. So they immediately started to register. So they registered, and I have it, I've got a copy of it. 22nd of January, Greg himself didn't bother signing it until the 23rd of January. So this is what I got back. I sent it to the ECQ, the response was not good, so I sent it to the CCC, their response was exactly the same. They told me I alleged that Greg failed to comply. I didn't allege anything, it was there. The evidence was there. And from both of them, you don't have enough evidence. How much evidence do you need? It was unbelievable. Now, from Mick Cumming, from the ECQ, he states that the ECQ is an impartial authority in one of his emails to me. And there's a list of discretionary factors which must be considered, which he didn't give me, mind you. So they consider The scarce resources available for prosecution should be used to pursue cases of worthy prosecution and not wasted pursuing inappropriate cases. Can you imagine if that evidence had been sent to them about Jacko's team? They'd have been up and running and prosecuting him in a heartbeat. So there's your corruption. So he admits that Team Greg Williamson openly and transparently presented itself to the public as a group before registering. We saw many other breaches in the election, many other breaches. I was actually banned from the returning officer's office because I went in and asked too many questions that you couldn't answer. She said, "You are not allowed in here again." So I don't care. I just don't care. We've all got to stand up. Now, we talked last week about Councillor... We had no name last week officially, even though we thought we knew, which we did. Councillor Peter Sheedy was talked about in the last week in the council meeting, nameless though he was. Greg, the mayor, has submitted an OIA to the Office of the Independent Assessor, and this is when you complain about someone or someone on council. So if you submit that, it automatically gives you a conflict of interest in voting. But not only did he submit it, he requested permission to stay in for the discussion and vote. He was overwhelmingly voted against. Thank you, councillors. Almost every one of you agreed that he had a conflict of interest and he is not allowed to vote. So the Daily Mercury ran an article just a couple of days ago, it might have been yesterday, on how Peter Sheedy is undergoing investigation and the mayor is not allowed to vote. Boo-hoo. So I got onto the Daily Mercury site as I'm reading this, and I tried to put a comment on, and I'm banned from commenting. And the comment at the bottom is they've got in, Daily Mercury has limited who can comment on this post. So I got round that by sharing the post, making it public, and putting my blurb at what I was going to put in the comment, I put at the top. So I ask you people, please share this sort of stuff. It has to get out there. We're the people who can get it out there. We've all got a different network of friends. I mean, we've got this group and this is like family, but we've all got a friendship group outside of this. Stand up, share it, send it out there, get it out to people. So, that was not very democratic, but again, that's the media, the left-wing media. And the Daily Mercury, well, we don't even need to say much more about them and how they share their news. All right, so we have some interesting information about Vic Park State School, Year 3. Last week we named and shamed Mackay State High School for the vaping that is rampant, but if you don't wear white socks, watch out. And the kids wearing collars with spikes on, but if you don't wear white socks, watch out. And the state of the toilets is so disgusting that kids are scared to go there. So we looked at Mackay State High last week. I've had this information sent to me and I've had conversations with this parent about Vic Park State School Year 3 and the Respectful Relationships program. Don't be fooled by the title. It used to be called Safe School. As a principal, I rang the Safe Schools office and I actually asked them for the research that supported the rubbish that they were beginning to put out. And so they sent me a load of absolute codswallop, and I wrote back and I said, no, this is an opinion piece. This is not research. Please send me research. And this went back and forth, and in the end they just told me I was stupid and not to bother them again. So they have no scientific backing for what they're doing to our kids. We know that. We know that. We know there are two genders. So Vic Park State School. This is what's in the information that is available to the parents. In this unit, students will understand the concepts of assigned sex gender and gender stereotypes. They will explore how aspects of culture, history and social expectations influence choices and behaviour. The unit isn't assessed. Really, what? I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, how are people going to even know what? It's just in this ridiculous academic speak that doesn't mean anything to a parent. So they have no idea, and most parents are bluffed by the school, thinking, oh, I can't go up, my kid might get picked on, and it happens. But, so what are the concepts of assigned agenda? What are concepts of assigned agenda to a year 3? That's a 7 or 8 year old. What are gender stereotypes? Deeply ingrained societal beliefs and expectations about the characteristics, roles and behaviours considered appropriate for individuals based on their gender. It just is crazy. These stereotypes can have significant consequences affecting individuals' opportunities, mental health and societal dynamics. Do you understand what that's all about? Anyone, please put your hand up if you understand what that's all about. Yeah, not one hand. Sorry, take mine down. Mine's not up. And, and what would be an example of the social expectations influencing choices and behaviour? So it really is insane what's going on. Okay, then there HASS, which is History and Social Science. This is the wording for an assignment for a year 3, 7 or 8 year old. This is the assignment they are given to do. Listen to the wording. Now, a year 3 student is being told to do this, remember? A little e. Locate and collect information from sources to answer questions or draw simple conclusions. Sequence your information about events and the lives of individuals in chronological order. Communicate ideas and findings in visual and written form. That's the assignment the 7 and 8 year olds are given. And I know it's not just Vic Park, but I know this has come from Vic Park. So this is not language that a year 3 student would understand. Year 6 students would have trouble understanding it. You've got to explain it. And I said last week, publicly for the first time, that as English in particular, the questions and the wording was so ridiculous, I would say to my kids, I don't even know what they want. I'll rewrite it and we'll do it so we all understand it. It's just insane. So then they've got the Respectful Relationships Education Pilot. Right? So they put it out. The focus of the pilot was on implementing and evaluating a whole school approach to respectful relationships education that aims to prevent gender-based violence, focusing on years 1 and 2. Now we're looking at 5 and 6 year olds. Like, why should a little kid even hear the words gender-based violence? It's just insane, it really is. Pilot evaluation methods. Parents of Year 1 and 2 students from the case study schools were provided with the opportunity to participate in an online survey to examine their understanding of respectful relationships education. Unfortunately, completion rates for this survey were limited. Well, I wonder why. Give the parents something they understand and they might be able to respond to you. Obvious why people don't even understand it. So, and parents go up to the school, They feel inferior if they even have to ask, what does this mean? They don't realise that they're not the only ones that don't understand what it means. Parents, go up, ask questions. This is your child. You get one go at bringing your child up safely. One go. And we don't want the government to be having that go. You have a go. You show your child love. You show your child concern. You show your child that you care enough to stand up and do what is necessary to protect them. The curriculum. Explicit teaching of age-appropriate gendered contents in years 1 and 2 within a whole school approach correlated with improvements to students' gendered attitudes. What does this actually mean? What is gendered content? What are gendered attitudes? Honestly, it's just crazy, and I have shared this before, where I received on my principal's email a survey about the pronouns I would like to be called. I didn't do the survey, it wasn't mandatory, but I replied to the email because I wanted to, and I replied back and I said I will have no part in this leftist Marxist rubbish. So my assistant regional director, who will for his sake remain unnamed, rang me up and said, you didn't have to answer that. I said, I know I didn't have to answer it, I wanted to. Do you know who put it out? No, I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't really care, but who did put it out? That was directly from the Director General. I said, great, now he knows exactly what I feel. And he said, no, Tine, you can't do that. You've got to leave your principal's hat on and just not look at the stuff that's going on around you. And my response was, if my granddaughter has any chance of going into grade 1, being told that just because she has a vagina does not mean she's a girl, I will not shut up. And I didn't. And I won't. And I never, none of us are. That's why we're here today. We will not shut up. We will not take this garbage that's being poured into our kids' heads. They are precious. They are vulnerable. They are innocent if we work at it. But parents, it's not just going to happen. You have to get out there and you have to be proactive. If you want to know any more, you come down here on a Saturday morning, because we can fill you in on a lot of stuff that's going on at school that you almost definitely don't know about. So let's get up there, stand for our kids. We love them, we want them safe. That's it for today, but please share about the election, the fraud. It's all there. All you've got to do is put the share button. Thank you so much.